That sun is really starting to creep in, but I'm not going to let it win. Time to move. So I'm just sitting out here in this beautiful, beautiful Saturday afternoon here in Southern California, and I have a confession. You see, I did this video already. I did it and it sucked. So I killed it. Not because the content sucked per se, or rather, not because the production sucked, but because the message wasn't on point. If there's anything that I want to do here, aside from the fact of showing, the daily bits of my life that I find, other people should think are interesting, it's that I want to portray as much positivity as I possibly can. I think it's important to share positivity because I believe positivity breeds positivity in others. And so that PMA, that positive mental attitude, is important. And yes, life is not always roses and candy, if that's a metaphor. It's going to have its ups and downs, and yesterday was definitely a big down day for me. Listen, it may have been a bad day for me, for my own personal reasons, but I don't need to project that upon you. I want you to walk away from these, maybe with a little bit of a kick in the pants if necessary, but really to feel energized and charged up and inspired and motivated to do the things that you want to do, because that's the whole point of me putting it out here for you. Otherwise, I'm just talking about myself. What fun is that? There's only so much of me you could probably take if it was just me bitching and complaining about things. So I killed that whole thing off. But there's still a message that I need to share with you. But I want to put a different spin on it to make sure that everybody feels great about the conversation. But right now I'm hungry, and so I'm gonna go get some lunch. Oh yeah, I am not gonna have any of this. Want to, not gonna do it. Look at that salad. Meat. Oh shoot. Don't worry, 5-second rule. Not too much. How rad does that look? Yum. So I'm about to dramatically lose my light here in just a sec because the sun's coming in. So we may have to move here in a bit. But until then, let's talk about what's next. And namely what's next for me. Because, whatever's next for you is your thing. But we're here to talk about me. Up until this point, my thing has been writing books. That's been my bread and butter. I've gotten 4 books out, which I'll show you right here. These are my books. Now that those 4 books are done and gone, it's been a while since I've done any writing. And I've kind of been sitting on my butt in regards to that because they've been okay. They've been doing okay, but they're not going to be doing okay forever. It's got me thinking, what do I got to do next to keep myself sustained so that I can continue to do these videos, so I can continue to do the podcast, so I can continue to do the newsletter? Part of me is thinking that I need to do something big. I need to do something grand. And A lot of people in this space will tell you, well, Dave, you need to have a course, you need to have training, you need to have to do all that stuff. And I've done that, and I've never felt great about it. For me, it just didn't feel like the right move. So of course my next default is another book. But what do I write about? Honestly, I don't have an answer to that just yet, because there's some things I need to understand about myself before I go and dig into another project. In fact, I've already started 2 other books since September of 2015. I've started 2 other books and not gotten very far, at least not past the first draft. And that's because I lost the motivation, I lost the energy, I lost the drive to finish those projects. And a large part of that was just, I needed to do something quickly and I just didn't get it done. Now, why didn't I get it finished? I had a lot of time constraints since September, and September is a key month because that was the month that my son started kindergarten. And I thought that was going to be smooth sailing. But this past September, October, November, December, January, February, March, April, May, 9 months has been very difficult on my timeline, very difficult on my schedule. I've been the least productive I've ever been in the last 9 months. But understand, I'm not blaming the kid at all. It's not his fault that he has to go to school, and he's only going to go to school for 3 hours. It's just something I've had to navigate. And while I'm navigating it and enjoying myself, because I really love my son and I love hanging out with him when he's not a complete pain in my butt, when I'm not doing that, I need to be working on a project, but the timeline I have is small. And so I'm not able to really move on anything big because my time is so short, especially because I'm doing all these other little projects like these videos, like the podcast, like the newsletter, the art projects, the design projects, whatever. And so trying to wedge a bigger project in between all those things that I've already got established, it's tough. It's tough to get that other thing in there. So I don't really know what's next yet. I have ideas, but I'm not really sure what's next. But here's the big thing. It doesn't really matter. Yeah, I probably do need to make another revenue stream that's going to help me stay afloat, because I know some of those other books are going to start drifting off. They're going to start falling away. They're not going to be as popular as they were. And so I need another revenue stream to kind of keep it flowing. What's more important is consistency on the things that I'm doing, consistently showing up, consistently doing the work that I've already set myself up for, consistently being the kind of person that I've told myself I'm going to be, that I've promised you guys that I'm going to be. So the more I show up, the more you guys love what I do. At least I hope. Eventually, as the gyrations move and the momentum builds and things get bigger and better, then when I have that time to do that big project, which hopefully is coming a lot sooner than I expect, but when I have that time to do that big project, everybody will be on board. Everybody just starts digging in and buying a little thing here and doing a little thing there and being part of this and being part of that. Eventually, it all becomes one big cohesive ball of awesome. At least that's the plan. That sun is really starting to creep in, but I'm not going to let it win. Time to move. So while I'm thinking about these projects and the what's next, I keep thinking about the big hairy project, the big hairy business entity. Like, what is this thing going to be in years to come? Now, I'm not a big fan of 5-year plans and 10-year plans, but what do I see is the thing. Like, what is the big finish? Or not even finish, but like, where am I headed as a major goal? I think what it really comes down to is just being the most personified version of myself in a way that is showcased across the web and that people really appreciate. And I'm being able to help tons and tons of people, or at least encourage, inspire, motivate people to do that thing, to do that creative work, to push forward on those projects, to take the leap on that thing that they've been wanting to do for oh so long. Because I firmly believe that it's important, right? It's important because we get so cynical. We get so cynical about the world around us, especially the things we read and talk about on the internet. And I believe it's time to really focus energy towards less cynicism, more realism, and more encouragement of the human experience. I don't know what that means in the long run, but that's what I feel. I feel like I've got work to do that is to sit here and help others by telling my story and sharing my struggle and sharing my wins and expressing my concerns and talking about the good times and the bad times and making sure that everybody knows you're not in this alone. We're all here to help. Now I just got to figure out how to turn that into a business. So I've been summoned to go get a cantaloupe for Mother's Day. So off we go, Trader Joe's.